What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. We're getting closer to training camp finally. And I was looking at storylines, taking a look at the rosters, seeing who's intriguing me the most. And I can't help but keep going back to the quarterback position, and specifically our day 3 selection at quarterback in Jordan Travis. And the reason for this was a topic that I actually ended up skipping. I saw some early debate about this, but is Jordan Travis the actual heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, right? Is he our quarterback of the future, or are we getting are we looking at this from the wrong prism, if you will, right? A lot of what I mentioned when I first did my initial breakdown of this draft class and Jordan Travis specifically is that while he has the excellent opportunity to learn from Aaron Rodgers, his game is really reminiscent of a guy like Tyrod Taylor. If you want to make a pro comp for him, right? And I would probably say a plus Tyrod Taylor, because Jordan Travis has a level of athleticism to him that isn't quite on the Lamar Jackson tier, but make no mistake, he's definitely up there as an athlete in the NFL right now, assuming he has healthy legs, right? So you love what he can do in terms of improvising, what he can offer in the run game as needed, right? Not a guy I necessarily would say would look to run first, but there's a lot of intrigue in what his athleticism can allow him to do. You have Aaron Rodgers, who has the excellent opportunity to learn from the mental standpoint. And one of the things that continues to stick out to me is what I heard Tom Brady, of all people, mention over the offseason about getting back to kind of having these quarterbacks that are looked at as field generals, right? Not just a guy that's going out there and running a play, running a script, doesn't necessarily know what he's doing on the field per se from a standpoint of attacking the defense, and maybe even deeper than that, knowing how to manipulate, right? That's why we're so excited about Aaron Rodgers. But when you look at his draft position, right, there's a bunch of storylines tied into Jordan Travis, which makes his journey with the New York Jets very intriguing. Pre-injury, you have him leading FSU ideally to a deep playoff run, a championship. Literally, the committee kind of essentially mentioned that without Jordan Travis, they don't know what FSU is, and so they opted to go with another team. He literally was the make or break point for the team deciding to have FSU come in. There's also the ever so ambiguous quarterback stat, wins, right? I believe he ended his collegiate career with 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that range, straight wins. The guy's a baller, right? And I can't say that enough. It's one of the things I do agree with. I don't remember if it was Bill Parcells or somebody else, but he essentially had his 3 guidelines that he stuck to with quarterbacks. Winning was a piece of that, right? And so the fact that he's coming from college as a winner is huge. I think that's a reason why you look at certain guys like Garrett Wilson on our roster, for example, right? A Sauce Gardner, even those guys that have acclimated themselves to winning at all costs. That translates to the NFL more often than not, even if you don't have the other things like an elite athletic profile and stuff match with you, right? Winners find ways to win. So that's the part that intrigues me the most about Jordan Travis. He's going to get it done. It's just a matter of what it's going to look like. Now, Tyrod Taylor, from a pro comp standpoint, is exactly what you would probably project Jordan Travis to essentially look like, right? And I can make an argument here that if you have a healthy Tyrod Taylor over the course of his career, he's definitely a starter at this point, a consistent starter. And I don't know if he'd ever consistently have his team in the playoffs or would win a Super Bowl or anything like that, but you would definitely at least look at him as an average starting quarterback in the NFL, if not in that plus territory. And I think Jordan Travis can bring the same thing. When you take a look at his draft status, though, and I think this is the debate that's inside of the building from some of the reports I've seen, is that the New York Jets don't really view him as a quarterback of the future at all, which means going into the 2025 NFL draft, you definitely could still see a first-round quarterback get taken there. And it does make sense, right? There's a reason why a day 3 quarterback pick that turns into something is a huge luxury. It is so at any position, but definitely at quarterback. Not only do you get the contract relief, but it's generally unexpected. And so if you do get a gem that comes out of the blue, you can really build out a roster around these guys and really have a 2 to 3 year window to really flourish without a crazy contract being there. There wasn't the expectations to begin with, so really it's just finding out if you have a player that just has huge peaks and valleys, or can he find a level of consistency at that high tier to really be one of those top guys? And I think that's what you see from the likes of a Tua Tagovailoa, for example, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, for example, among a few other guys that have reached some, big heights or at least had those expectations around him. Jordan Travis doesn't really have any of that bogging him down. So it's not necessarily the worst approach. I think for once the plan here is solid in that you don't want to overwhelm this guy. You have the perfect opportunity with the guys in front of him to slowly nurture and develop this guy in the ways that we saw in the early 2000s that just aren't really present anymore. And it's a day 3 guy, yes, but on paper, if he doesn't get injured, and I'll continue to argue this, I really think at worst he's a second round pick, potentially a guy that's going to move into the first round here. So he has those starter traits that teams will look for. And one of the things that I'll be hoping that we really get to see is that he's healthy at some point for training camp. It doesn't really matter. It seems like we're gearing up for a lot of joint practices once again. I believe the Giants and the Panthers were already confirmed, and I think Washington was the other team, and they're also in the mix. But it may be unconfirmed. But it's a huge piece of what I think will answer that question for us going into 2025. If Jordan Travis can do anything, like literally almost anything, to buy some positive reputation with this coaching staff, give them something to seriously consider to say, can we use our first round pick to help build around a guy like Jordan Travis, or, assuming Aaron Rodgers doesn't retire, he's still here with us, so that's the best piece. If not, you got the 2-year contract with Tyrod, right? So he sticks around. You look for healthy competition for him so that it's just not a complacent promotion. But ultimately, can Jordan Travis do something this training camp to have this coaching staff say, we have enough tools in his bag right now that we can build an offense around him that is acceptable? And again, using the Tua conversation, there are definitely guys, Jared Goff being another one, where you can build around the skill set and see elite production, at least elite wins, if you will, right? If you got to get down and dirty with it, no matter what it is, you can build a program around a guy like this. And yes, you'll be capped to a certain extent, but this is where the execution piece comes into play. So let's see what ultimately happens with Jordan Travis from a stats perspective. He does have some pretty interesting numbers that pops out. Again, to me, the most important thing was his run of wins in his collegiate career. But I know he also ranked, according to PFF, like 84th percentile when he's playing in a clean pocket. All the other numbers, when he's pressured, having to scramble, making plays outside the pocket, etc. Those numbers drop quite a bit. I think he ends up being in the low to mid 60s percentile. But you have a base to work around. You have a guy that has great improvisational skills, plus to borderline elite athlete. You have the fact that he, when things are clean, and this isn't true for all quarterbacks, he knows how to make things happen in that play. And now you got to work on the little bits in between. Can he attack all levels of the field? What kind of things may you not be able to call based on arm talent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I think at some point I should be able to get at least a quarterback scout, hopefully, some kind of guru to come in and kind of chat with us really about what they're seeing out of a guy like Jordan Travis here. But this is the biggest question I think that we need to see answered this offseason. Hopefully we can get a good portion of it in training camp, but this may be something that drags on throughout the season where we get bits and pieces, right? Maybe he's crushing it in scout team practices, Jets flight school. Maybe it's the fact that, I don't know, there's always something that comes out crazy from the Jets, right? I think it was Bryce Petty mentioned a while back that he was learning from Madden, right? I don't want any of that, but maybe you hear that when he's holding the clipboard on game days, that he's calling out how he would want to attack the defenses or something, right? Who knows what it is, but he needs to really impress some of these guys in his coaching staff. I'm really, really rooting for him because this is a guy that I feel like you can get behind from a personality standpoint, how he fits into the culture, what he can offer. And again, the value doesn't get any better than being able to turn a day 3 guy into something. But I will say, to cap off the thoughts here, ultimately, if he does nothing more than become a long-term backup quarterback option for us, right, talking secondary contract, etc., it's a huge win. If he does so just in his rookie contract and he takes over, within the next 2 years for Tyrod, and we don't have to worry about re-signing him, that's a plus. And if he becomes our guy that lasts with us for 6, 7, 8 years, that's a win in of itself, right? So we'll see. A lot of these younger guys obviously have huge aspirations to get on the field now. That's a lot of the current problems in the college realm with transfer portals and stuff. Guys aren't willing to wait anymore and develop and do what they need to do. They want to get out there on the field now, and they want to try to figure it out. So let's see what the Jets make of this opportunity here. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think we should be looking to groom him as the quarterback of the future? Would you be satisfied with him in a long-term backup quarterback option? And I ask because I do think it's very different how you approach developing a guy like that. I know coaching staffs would generally say they want every guy to be looked at as a starter, yada yada, but that's just not the reality with limited reps and practice opportunities and the likes of that. So I do think it's a vastly different approach if you think he's a starter versus a backup quarterback. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you again. Peace.